Yo guys, you here? Where's me? Where's my face? There's my face. How you guys doing? Let's see what's happening. Let's see what's happening. Who's in the chat? A lot of people in the chat. A lot of green names. That's good. Hi guys, start. Oh, look at it. There we go. Exactly. As soon as I come, the moves start to happen. The moves start to happen. Hit like button if you like the moves. So first up, then down, or down then up. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? First up, then down, down, then up. Up. We down, down, up, up. Okay, guys. There is a poll for you guys. Time to hit the poll. What do you guys think is gonna happen? How far are we gonna be for dump? I don't know. We are already above the white line. So there is that. We gotta go to Twitter, guys. We gotta go to Twitter. Twitter always knows first. 18.8 safe profit. That's done. Let's go to Twitter. Oh, that was the AI stuff. Opening a code. Let's go. Fomc decision. Just Fomc. Latest. What do people think? What do people think on Twitter? Who is the moment left? Lifetime. Release in 2 minutes. Very soon. Very soon, guys. We are coming very close to the moment that we all be. What just happened, guys? What just happened? The volatility is kicking in, guys. Somebody knows something. I don't know where and how, but somebody knows something. Volatility is kicking in. Big moves down on the resistance. Jerome Powell movement indicator on high alert. So the volatility has kicked in. You can see down here on the volume. The volatility is in right now, and we are right now looking at what's gonna happen. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I don't know. 47% says first up, then down. Just up 29%, down 18%. This is 5-second chart. Let's go a little bit up mini chart and see how this is actually playing out. Big moves up here happening. We're still in green on the 1 hourly, 4 hourly still in green, daily still in green. You know, it just slight move down towards downside over here right now. It's trying to hold. You know, this might be initial move. We are still not crossing the line, and I don't think the results are out just yet. Let's see up here. Let's reload the page. We still got something like, you know, 20 seconds left or something like that. It's go time. I mean, everybody's super hyped. I mean, this is, you know, updates are on the 20 seconds chart. So there is that. Look at the moves. First two down, double button down here. Double button right now wants to go down. Came above it, went down to support. Right now bouncing back up again. 5-second charts. 0.4, 0.5, 0.5. Is it out right now? Where is my reload button? F5. Right now the market needs to figure out whether this is, you know, this is good or bad. Fed 0.5. We got what we wanted. No more, no less. Expected is in, but we should dump. Because everybody's too bullish. So, you know, we are at resistance, so, you know, we should dump, right? Let's see how this plays out. Let's see 1-second chart over here. Do we have any kind of patterns up here on the chart? Right now, we did the first initial move towards downside below the support up here. We are, you know, trying up here, but looks like it wants to go down. At least in the start. At least on the 1-second chart. They're keeping some kind of support down here. Right over here, keeping some kind of support. 50%, yeah, 50%. That's the thing. Jerome Powell movement indicator on high alert. So rehabbing is standing on the resistance up here. 1 minute chart up here. You know, we are definitely, you know, the first initial move is towards downside. So I don't know, Milani, you tell me, is this good or bad? That initial movement, the first initial move is towards downside. Is this good or bad? I mean, we did kind of, you know, push it all the way up towards upside up here right now, just, you know, to dump it straight down. But the question is, are we gonna go straight down and then up, or are we gonna do this move and then continue on the downside? Breaking support down here. Do we have any kind of divergence? There should be no divergence up here. There is no divergence right now. 17.9. Altcoins are not bleeding that much. Altcoins are actually not bleeding that much just yet. I mean, they're down 1-2% down, but, you know, it's not that bad. I'm just looking on my chart up here, and, you know, there's a lot of altcoins that are still in green. I mean, you know, the dump has not, you know, what are you gonna say? The dump hasn't, you know, manifest itself yet on the chart. Pushing 200 moving average down here on the daily time frame. No, sorry, on the 5 minutes time frame. Below that as well. How much are we down from the start up here? Right now we are down, you know, 3.2%. I mean, this is 5-second charts. Look in the group. Let's see what the group says. Not on the dollar. copy his chart. Yeah, resistance, it's not 18,389. 18,389, top of the line. 18,392. Yeah, it's very nice. It's very, very nice. Initial move is always bad, but you know, I think, didn't you say, Mladen, that you know, when if the first day is red, then the next day is green? But the big question is how are people thinking, is this good or bad? Fomc risk, blah blah blah. There is a board meeting, markets committee release economic projection from 7:30 and 40 meeting. There's some food on the charts. Fomc straight down, yeah, straight down. But it's initial move. It's initial move. So you know, it's the question is whether this initial move will return back towards upside. Went trade initially after decision of Federal Reserve. Yeah. But you know, is this good or bad? Does anybody say anything about good or bad? What you guys think? Fed sees path of increases continuing through 2023. The Fed says inflation is still high and that it's paying close attention to inflation risks. So, not quite sure. It's picking up back up again. Let's go back to our 5-minute chart up here. We came to the midline up here on the channel. This line over here is the midline of the channel. So the question is right now, will this midline, be enough to, cope us up here and, bounce back up there again? But the dump is not that bad yet. I mean, we went up like 3% or something like that before we dumped. So right now, over here, we are having nice move towards upside. This 5-second chart up here, are we gonna break the resistance up here? We are hitting right now resistance on 5-second chart. A little bit unsure whether we're gonna, show any kind of bullishness up there. We failed to break the resistance up here 2 times. Right now, hugging, this looks like it's going to dump on the downside because, you went up to resistance, you failed, then you hugged the moving average on the downside. But it's kind of holding. It's kind of holding the resistance on the downside right now. There is definitely volatility kicked in right now. So, people are a little bit unsure whether this is good or bad. What you guys think, good or bad? Is this decision good or bad? Good or bad? Yeah, it looks like over here, it wants to, it kind of fails to, it kind of fails to have this bullish momentum towards the upside right now. And right now it goes down a little bit. Dump it. France is leading 1-0. Who cares, man? Who cares? Maybe you do. I don't know. Bullshing up here on the 5-second chart, but failed to get above the 10 moving average, and right now getting rejected by that. Look at it. Look at these, sell walls up here. Just jumped on. What did he say? He didn't say nothing yet. He will say something in 24 minutes. So we got 24 minutes until he actually says something. But the decision is out. So right now it is what it is expected. We can check that over here. Fomc Fed forecast. Something like that. Which one is it? The economics. This one. So no, not this one. Let's see for funds rate. No, Fed forecast interest rate. There we go, and that's this one. Funds rate. Is funds rate the same thing? Am I misinterpreting this? Why it says nothing up here? Previous interest rate for previous for December 2022. Yeah, I mean it's up for fun. Maybe it's just not updated. The consensus in the forecast is not up here. Why it's not up here? I think bullish December. Bullish December. 58% says good, but 40% is on the bad side. Why you guys that are thinking this is a bad decision, why it's bad? What's up? What's up with that? Why are you still bearish? That's what I want to know. Yeah, I think it's good that we are not dumping that fast. I mean, we did dump, big time up here, and Bitcoin is still in green up here, and we went down as, we went 3.4% towards downside pretty quickly. But it's initial move, so you cannot say that it's what's gonna stay. XRP dumped big. XRP is down 3.3%, but you cannot say it's a big dump. I mean, it's 3%. It depends on how much it was up today. Yeah, 3.9% down. So it just went on the daily time frame back to some kind of, it actually went pretty much, all the way from the top. It didn't actually do anything. 4.45% on the daily time frame up here for XRP. Did anything else dumped big time? I mean, I don't see any kind of big numbers. I mean, I see this, you know, DGB is up to, you know, 25%, but I don't think that's, you know, a representative of the crypto, you know, as whole. Everything else is down like a couple of percentage. There you go. Bitcoin goes more towards downside up here. So this rising wedge up here failed, double top up here, right now moving towards downside. We got some kind of resistance on the small time frames. We got a break here at 18 or something like that. We're not quite there yet. And if you look at the daily time frame, I mean, yeah, sure. The initial move is, you know, we had a big move towards the resistance, and right now we are dumping towards downside. So the question is, this is gonna, you know, just, you know, crashes all the way down to 16K. Are we gonna have a, you know, 10% move towards downside? That's the big question right now, right? But I mean, the decision is not that bad, but it is bleeding towards downside still. Still bleeding towards downside, and we got this major support up here. This is a midline of the channel. This white line over here, that's the midline of the channel. So, you know, are we gonna get some kind of, you know, maybe a bam, bam, and then, you know, towards upside? But right now there is some kind of resistance up here. There's some kind of trend line over here. Resistance up here, give or take, because this is, you know, 5-second chart, so we're not gonna be that specific about it. Let's draw the resistance line up here. I think it's got something like this up here. I think it's important resistance line, but you can see up here it's hugging this resistance line. It's also like expanding musical instrument towards downside over here. So, you know, this looks like it wants to break a little bit towards upside right now. Over here, this looks like it wants to break it a little bit towards upside. Maybe, just maybe. Musical instrument, you know, expanding musical instrument towards downside. You know, playing with this resistance line over here. Wants to break towards upside. This looks like extends mag hug down pattern that's actually gonna go towards up. I think this right now is gonna go up. This on 5-second charts, so, you know, scalping stuff. Bitsy pumped a lot into the Fomc, so the dump is kind of expected. Yeah, initial dump is kind of expected, you know, but long term is it kind of expected or not? What about Doge? Doge is not doing anything. It's down -2%. There we go. We're breaking towards upside. We got this 50 moving average up here, just shy above on the first resistance up here, give or take. There we go. We're going above that. 4 seconds left, 3 seconds. I'm gonna manage to stay above that. First candle is above that, right over here, closed above that. Right now he's trying to stay above that, and we are moving up above the resistance. So we are moving above the first resistance out of this expanding musical instrument towards the upside. After this, you know, inverse had a extends make hug down pattern, and right now we are above the line, so we could get a retest on. We could get a retest on this trend line over here. This is a trend, some kind of trend line up here that's you know, got created up here right now. So the question is, are we gonna, you know, get a retest? Maybe even a retest up here, and then you know, just continue up here towards the upside. So there is some kind of hope up here until we, you know, actually get back below the line. Well, if we just, you know, dump over here below the line, then I think it's gonna, you know, probability might be towards downside over here. It's kind of failing to, you know, get up here. So right now making another move towards downside up here. I mean, it's not dumping big time, so, you know, there is some kind of bullishness on the chart. It's not dumping, you know, big time, but it might be just being pushed right now. I mean, this is an initial push towards downside. There is a lot of people who went long up here, and then, you know, they're still shorting. We went hit some kind of support level up here. Right now consolidating over here. How this is gonna actually look, you know, that kind of depends. Maybe just trying to create some kind of, you know, pattern over here right now. But we got a trend line that we actually broke towards upside. But it doesn't look that bad just yet, right? Just yet. That's the good thing. Over here also we are kind of hugging this 1 minute, you know, 10 moving average. Maybe I move towards downside right now. 3 minutes are still on the 5-minute chart. Let's see a little bit bigger time frames up here. We managed to pull back on the 1 hour above 20 moving average after being, you know, going all the way down almost to the 50 moving average. So it is quite bad, but there's still 47 minutes left. So, you know, and the 4 hourlies doesn't look that bad. So, you know, I wouldn't say that's bad. I wouldn't say that's bad. And there we go. You know, the bulls are actually managing to hold the price. You know, they're not letting it dump down that easily, right? They're not letting it dump down that easily. So this is actually looking okay so far. Maybe on the big time frame it looks bad, but let's see up here. Do we have any kind of divergence on 1 minute time frame up here? There is a divergence up here on 1 minute time frame. It needs to get above a certain levels up here on the resistance. So we might have another move towards downside up here, you know, something like this up here before we actually break 10-20 moving averages, then do a move towards the upside. This might take a little bit of time. 5 minutes up here. 5 minutes actually came to the 200 moving average, and right now bouncing, but there is no momentum in the bounce. There is no momentum in the bounce, so it's kind of I kind of think that we are gonna do another move towards downside over here. Let's see up here. So this one over here, no, this is not the one. This is not the one. It's something like this up here. Right now we got these two pivot points over here on the chart, and on the bottom chart down here we had this move up here, went above it, failed. Let's go something like this down here. Maybe even something like this over here. So it might be some kind of some kind of resistance, some kind of support level that's right now bouncing between. Let's see, could it build down here? Yeah, this looks more like it's ascending triangle. Now I don't believe in ascending triangles or anything like that, so I'm guessing I missed something. I just don't know when, but this support line down here on the 5-second chart, it is kind of holding right now. Play Doge Daddy, let's go. No, we don't want to jinx it. Centerpay, how you doing? Let me go a little bit to Twitter and see what Twitter is saying. Do we have any, let me go to Twitter. Why am I not logged in on my Twitter up here? I don't know. Kevin O'Leary says that Binance initially put FTX out of business. Fees hiked as expected. Are you ready for the pump? CryptoCon embezzled billions from them donations and real estate, begs for bail because he's a depressed vegan. Who writes these? Dot plot and Powell's for guidance matters more than the 50% hike. Yeah, so what Powell is gonna say in the press conference does matter, in fact, more than the fact that we got 50% hike up here. There we go. We broke the support up here. Right now we're failing to get back into the support levels up here. So the question is, if we fail to get inside over here, this is definitely gonna go all the way down there. Guess what Elon Musk moved to the head. Paper is gonna be bullish. That's what. How is this even possible? Nah, we kind of failed to get it back in up here. It looks like it wants to go lower down here over here. I mean, this is broke the support. Try to get it back, failing up here. Right now, if it goes back below that down here, it might, do a dumpy dump right now. Sitting down there on the support level, having kind of hard time bouncing. I mean, there's a lot of, buys coming in, trying to hold the price at certain levels. There we go, moving a little bit towards the upside up here. I'm gonna get this double bottom up here. This is the second move up here right now. Needs to get up here. There we go. We are inside. Are we gonna keep it inside? Yes, we are inside. Do we gonna get candle outside up here again? No, we are not getting candle outside. Nice, we are inside right now. The major resistance up here at 957 or something like that. This 957. So this double bottom down here on the support managed to hold, and we managed to get it back inside this random triangle up here. Right now, trying to break this towards upside. There is 200 moving average and 5-second charts right above us. This move needs to break up. This move, if it goes up here, it's pretty much over, and then we're gonna go back below the support, and we are looking at some kind of low levels down here, I think, if that happens. But if it can manage to bounce over here right now, I said bounce over here right now. This way, guys. This way. Chart. Look. This way. Look at the lines. Look at the lines. Nah, it kind of failed. This is kind of failed. If this line over here is correct, we kind of failed. Right now it's going back to the support line up here, and I think it's gonna break the support line and go a little bit more lower on the downside. This is kind of failure on the chart. So short term right now it is pushing down. What are some small Eurofinance econ space would deserve more views? Econ space, me. I don't want to shield myself. I'm done with that stuff. What is it? I'm out alone 0.13, not doing great. How's the other right now? 1.5. You're out alone from 0.30, 0.3. I mean, that 0.3 is such a big range, man. 0.3 is such a big range. Should I open an inverse TLI channel? I mean, that could play out maybe. Maybe that could play out. I don't know. Where did my lines go, man? Where did my lines go? There is my lines. I don't know. I probably use something else. This is the third time we are holding the support level. This, you know, we got some kind of double bottom up here, bounced up here, got rejected by this level up here, went down to 1, 2, 3 times up here right now, going for the third test up here. This usually just breaks on the downside. This doesn't break. This is like 3 nice. I mean, there is definitely bullish, you know, bulls up here right now, trying to break this towards the upside. The resistance up here at 957, 956 or something like that. I mean, they're trying definitely to break that, but they're kind of failing right now. This looks like just, you know, sideways channel up here. Look at it, man. Look at the sideways channel over here. So the first move towards the upside downside is gonna be big. Sideways till Powell's speech. I mean, there's still 12 minutes left. Where is this? Yeah, but when Powell's speech comes, I mean, it's not just, you know, it's not just over here. You know, this is Powell's speech, but, you know, it's not just over here. He has to actually start speaking, and then you have to, you know, watch, you know, what's gonna happen next, and then up and then down, and what's gonna happen, right? So it's not just the speech itself. But yeah, we kind of failed to get above this resistance over here one time over here. Then we get up to resistance, failed that. Right now, I retested this line, failed that. Going down, like how many times are we gonna retest this this support level up here? I don't think that's gonna be that many. So right now, I think it's gonna break it on the downside right now. I think it's gonna go up here, get rejected by these moving averages, and then down. If it just not goes down straight over here. But I think, you know, this moving averages right now is gonna push it down below the support. Or maybe it's gonna bounce. I don't know, guys. This is 5 minute chart. Powell's speeches have wrecked us in the past. Yeah. So you guys think he's gonna be, you know, bullish or bearish in the speech? Powell bullish or bearish in the press conference? Bullish, bearish. What you guys think? There is a new poll, guys. Answer the poll. Dude, you are talking like a 5-second chart. We need to know what's happening on the 5-second chart, man. We need to know what's happening on 5-second chart. We need to see every single move. Because, you know, if you want to go watch daily chart, like, where is the fun in that? We already know, you know, then you gotta wait for the daily close. You gotta look at, like, you know, past 15 days, what's happened. This is where the magic happens right now. This is where the magic happens right now. And do we have any kind of move up here right now? Nah, might be some kind of, you know. Oh, this is nice. This is nice line. Some kind of resistance line up here. Look at it. Look at it. How nicely it is hitting over here. Right now, I mean, and it's already broke. You know, this it already broke this up here. So right now it's going. You know, it went like this. Right now it's going like this. So, you know, if it breaks up here, it's gonna go like this. So we came into the moving averages, got checked by that. We're getting squeezed right now. We're getting squeezed below the moving averages on the support line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times on the support line. We're getting squeezed on the support line. And this is more likely right now. Probability is towards high. Can we just bounce up here? I mean, the bulls needs to, you know, do something. See here, the volatility is kind of going down. There we go. Movement trying to go down. You see here, bulls coming in, trying to hold the price up. Unfortunately, there is not enough yet. I mean, but it might be good. It might be good because this over here, the volume is actually right now going towards upside. This might actually be good. We might actually get above on the upside. The bulls are actually starting buying the support levels up here. There we go. No more shorts. Powell's book nailed it. He will say employment is strong, inflation is coming down, but long way to go. How can employment be strong? Like, you know, Tesla is, you know, letting go a bunch of, not Tesla, Twitter is letting go a bunch of people. Who was also letting go a bunch of people. Facebook is letting go a bunch of people. A lot of these people are letting go, you know, a lot of these people are letting go a lot of these other people. All right, and still, you know, somehow employment is good. I don't know any kind of, you know, any kind of business that's right now, oh yes, we are doing great, we're gonna employ 20 more people. Like, who is doing that? So there is some shady stuff going on with the employment stuff. That said, I'm gonna leave you with the chart. I gotta go downstairs a little bit because the car stuff needs to be fixed. Where is the stuff up here? There we go. We can put this so far on, and I'm gonna leave you with the 5-second chart. I'm gonna leave you the 5-second chart up here. Maybe something like this, and I'll be back in a couple of
appears to have been socialized at your last meeting largely before the past two CPI reports showed inflation decelerating in line with the committee's forecast this year. You just now talked about making decisions meeting by meeting and being mindful of the lags of policy. Does that mean, all things equal, you would feel more comfortable probing where the terminal rate is by moving in 25 basis point increments, including beginning at your next meeting?
So I haven't made a judgment on what size rate hike to make at the last meeting. But what you said is broadly right, which is having moved so quickly and having now so much restraint that's still in the pipeline, we think that the appropriate thing to do now is to move to a slower pace. And that will allow us to feel our way and and get to that level, we think, and better balance the risks that we face. So that's the idea. It makes a lot of sense, it seems to me, particularly if you consider how far we've come. But again, I can't tell you today what the actual size of that will be. It will depend on a variety of factors, including the incoming data in particular, the state of the economy, the state of financial conditions.
With the CPI report, if it had come out last week, do you think it would have changed some of those forecasts in today's SEP?
No, absolutely not. No, as just a matter of practice, the SEP reflects any data that comes out during the meeting, and participants know that that they can make changes to their SEP during the meeting, well in advance of the press conference, so that we're not running around. But that's not the case. It's never the case that the SEPs don't reflect an important piece of data that came in on the first day of the meeting.
Thanks. Rachel?
Hi, Chair Powell. Rachel Siegel from the Washington Post. Thank you for taking our questions. I'm wondering if we could talk about the projection for the unemployment rate. Why has the Fed raised its unemployment projection? Is it because the model suggests that a higher terminal rate would automatically cause a higher unemployment rate? Or are you seeing signs that the labor market isn't quite as strong as we think it is now? Thanks.
No, it's not about the strength of the labor market. The labor market is clearly very strong. It is more just that, by now, we've continually expected to make faster progress on inflation than we have ultimately, and that's why the peak rate for this year goes up between this meeting and the September meeting. You see the fact that we've made less progress than expected on inflation, so that's why that goes up, and that's why unemployment goes up, because we're having to tighten policy more. And so it didn't go up by much in the meeting, I don't think, but that's the idea, is slower progress on inflation, tighter policy, probably higher rates, probably held for longer, just to get to where the kind of restriction that you need to get inflation down to 2%.
Do you have a sense of, in order to get to that number, how much of that could be caused by layoffs versus vacancies trimming or changes to the labor force population rate?
So it's very hard to say. You can look at history, right? And history would say that in a situation like this, the declines in unemployment would be more meaningful, I think, than what you see written down there. But why do we think that is the case? So I'll give you a few reasons. First, just is that there's this huge overhang of vacancies, meaning that vacancies can come down a fair amount, and we're hearing from many companies that they don't want to lay people off, so that they'll keep people because it's been so hard. I mean, I think it feels like we have a structural labor shortage out there, where there are 4 million fewer people, a little more than 4 million, who are in the workforce available to work than there's demand for workforce. So the fact that there's a strong labor market, means that companies will hold on to workers, and it means that it may take longer, but it also means that the costs in unemployment may be less. Again, that we're going to find out empirically, but I think that's a reasonably possible outcome, and you do hear many labor economists believe that it is. So we'll see, though.
Colby?
Thank you. Colby Smith with the Financial Times. How should we interpret the higher core inflation forecast for 2023 in the SEP? Does that not then suggest that the policy rate currently forecasted for next year should actually be higher than the 5.1 medium estimate penciled in?
Well, I think that's why one of the reasons it went up was that core came in stronger this year, came in stronger this year. Yeah, what you see is our best estimate as of today, really, as of today, for how high we need to raise rates, to how much we need to tighten policy to create enough, restrictive policy to slow economic activity and soften the labor market and bring inflation down through those channels. That's all. That is the estimate, best estimate we make today, and as I mentioned, we'll make another estimate for the next SEP, and we'll, of course, between meetings we do the same thing, but we don't publish it.
Victoria.
Hi, Victoria Guida with Politico. I wanted to make sure I understand specifically what's going on in the SEP, because you all expect rates to go higher, but you're also more pessimistic about what inflation is going to look like next year. And I was just wondering, given that we have seen some cooling in inflation, is that primarily because of wage growth, that you expect wage growth to be sort of a headwind?
No, we're going into next year with higher inflation than we had thought. Right, so we're actually moving down to the level that we're moving down to next year is still a very large drop in inflation from where inflation is running now, well more than a 1% change in inflation. But remember that the jump-off point at the beginning of the year is higher. So we're moving down still by a very large chunk. I don't think the policy's having any less effect. It's just starting from a higher level at the end of 2022. So we're getting down. I believe the median is 3.5%. That's a pretty significant drop in inflation. And where's it coming from? It's coming from the goods sector, clearly. By the middle of next year, we should begin to see lower inflation from the housing services sector. And then, the big question is how much will you see from the 55% of the index, which is the non-housing services sector. And, that's where you need to see. We believe you need to see a better balancing of supply and demand in the labor market, so that you have. It's not that we don't want wage increases. We want strong wage increases. We just want them to be at a level that's consistent with 2% inflation. Right now, if you factor in productivity estimates, standard productivity estimates, wages are running well above what would be consistent with 2% inflation.
Neil.
Thanks. Hi, Chair Powell. Neil Irwin with Axios. Some of your colleagues have been pretty explicit that they can't imagine rate cuts happening in 2023. That's certainly not implied by the SEP. But futures markets have priced in some easing in the back half of next year. What's your view of the likelihood of any kind of rate cuts next year? What circumstances might make that plausible?
Our focus right now is really on moving our policy stance to one that is restrictive enough to assure a return of inflation to our 2% goal over time. It's not on rate cuts. And we think that we'll have to maintain a restrictive stance of policy for some time. Historical experience cautions strongly against prematurely loosening policy. I guess I would say it this way. I wouldn't see us considering rate cuts until the committee is confident that inflation is moving down to 2% in a sustained way. So that's the test I would articulate. And you're correct. There are not rate cuts in the SEP for 2023.
Steve.
Steve Matthews with Bloomberg. Let me ask you about China. In the last few weeks, China has abandoned its COVID policy and been reopening pretty strongly. I'm wondering if you see that as disinflationary because you're seeing supply chains improve, or inflationary because it obviously brings a lot more demand globally, improves the global outlook for growth and for commodities prices.
And so you're right. Those two things will offset each other. Weaker output in China will push down on commodity prices, but it could interfere with supply chains ultimately, and that could push inflation up in the West. It's very hard to say, how those two will offset each other, and it doesn't seem likely actually that the overall net effect would be material on us. But to your point, China faces a very challenging situation in reopening. And we've seen waves of COVID all around the world can interfere with economic activity. China, a very critical manufacturing place for manufacturing and exporting. Their supply chain is very important. And China faces a reopening. They've backed away from their COVID restriction policies. There could be very significant increases in COVID, and we'll just have to see. It's a risky situation. But again, it doesn't seem like it's likely to have material overall effects on us.
Chris.
Hi, Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. Thank you for taking my question. I wondered if you could comment a bit more about yesterday's inflation report. I mean, it showed inflation cooling in all three of the categories that you laid out at Brookings. Are you confident that you're seeing real progress on getting inflation under control? Are you still worried it could slip into some kind of unentrenched, upward spiral? Thank you.
Right. So the data that we've received so far for October and November, we don't have we have some remaining data to get in November, but they clearly do show a welcome reduction in the monthly pace of price increases. As I mentioned in my opening statement, it will take substantially more evidence to give confidence that inflation is on a sustained downward path. So the way we think about this is this. This report is very much in line with what we've been expecting and hoping for. And what it does is it provides greater confidence in our forecast of declining inflation. As I mentioned, we've been forecasting significant declines in overall inflation and core inflation in the coming year, and this is the kind of reading that it will take to support that. So really, this gives us greater confidence in our forecast rather than at this point changing our forecast. In terms of the pieces, we have been expecting goods inflation to come down as supply chain pressures eased. That's happening now. Housing services, as I mentioned, there is good news in the pipeline. As long as new housing leases show declining inflation, that will show up in the measure around the middle of next year, so that should help. And the big piece, again, is core services ex housing, which is very important, and we have a ways to go there. You do see some beginning signs there, but ultimately that's that more than half, as I mentioned, of PCE core index, and it's very fundamentally about the labor market and wages. If you look at wages, look at the average hourly earnings number we got with the last payrolls report, you don't really see much progress in terms of our average hourly earnings coming down. Now there may be composition effects and other effects in that, so we don't put too much weight on any one report. These things can be volatile month to month, but we'll be looking for wages moving down to more normal levels where workers are doing well and ultimately their gains are not being eaten up by inflation.
Michael McKee.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Radio and Television. There's a little bit of a disconnect between the optimistic view you just expressed about the economy and the changes that you've made in the SEP. And I'm wondering if you're reacting to the fact that the markets have loosened financial conditions, or if you feel the Fed may be a little bit behind on inflation, whether the recent disinflation we're seeing is transitory or not, and how this affects the idea of a soft landing if you're projecting just 0.5% growth for this year.
So if I think I got your question. So, one thing is to say is I think our policies in getting into a pretty good place now. We're restrictive, and I think we're getting close to that level of sufficient. We think sufficiently restrictive. We laid out today what our best estimates are to get there, and it boils down to how long do we think this process is going to take. And of course, we welcome these better inflation reports for the last 2 months. They're very welcome, but I think we're realistic about the broader project. So that's all. That's the point I would make. It's, we see goods prices coming down. We understand what will happen with housing services, but the big story will really be the rest of it, and there's not much progress there, and that's going to take some time. I think my view and my colleagues' view is that this will take some time. We'll have to hold policy at a restrictive level for a sustained period, so that two good monthly reports are very welcome. Of course, they're very welcome, but I think we need to be honest with ourselves that there's inflation. 12-month core inflation is 6% CPI. That's 3 times our 2% target. Now, it's good to see progress, but let's just understand we have a long ways to go to get back to price stability.
Well, do you think the soft landing is no longer achievable?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I don't say that. I mean, I would say this, you know, to the extent we need to keep rates higher and keep them there for longer and inflation, you know, moves up higher and higher, I think that narrows the runway. But lower inflation readings, if they persist in time, could certainly make it more possible. So I don't think anyone knows whether we're going to have a recession or not. And if we do, whether it's going to be a deep one or not. It's not knowable. And certainly, you know, lower inflation reports, were they to continue for a period of time, would increase the likelihood of a, so I would put it this way, of a return to price stability that involves significantly less of an increase in unemployment than would be expected given the historical record.
Ryan.
Hi, Chairman Powell. Brian Chung, NBC News. You warned Americans of pain earlier this year as the Fed hikes rates, but with the Fed now expected to raise rates higher than you thought when you first said that, just wondering where we are in that pain. How would you describe that to Americans if the projections on unemployment find themselves? That would be 1.6 million Americans out of jobs.
So the largest amount of pain, the worst pain, would come from a failure to raise rates high enough and from us allowing inflation to become entrenched in the economy so that the ultimate cost of getting it out of the economy would be very high in terms of unemployment, meaning very high unemployment for extended periods of time, the kind of thing that had to happen when inflation really got out of control and the Fed didn't respond aggressively enough or soon enough in a prior episode, 50 years ago. So that's really the worst pain would be if we failed to act. What we're doing now is, it's raising interest rates for people. And so people are paying higher rates on mortgages and that kind of thing. There will be some softening in labor market conditions. And I wish there were a completely painless way to restore price stability. There isn't. And this is the best we can do. I do think, though, that and markets are pretty confident, it seems to me, that we will get inflation under control, and I believe we will. We're certainly highly committed to do that.
Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Grady Trimble with Fox Business. You've reiterated today, and the committee has reiterated its commitment to that 2% inflation target. I wonder, is there ever a point where you actually reevaluate that target and maybe increase your inflation target if it is stickier than even you think it is?
That's just so changing our inflation goal is just something we're not thinking about. It's not something we're not going to think about. We have a 2% inflation goal, and we'll use our tools to get inflation back to 2%. I think this isn't the time to be thinking about that. I mean, there may be a longer run project at some point, but that is not where we are at all. The committee, we're not considering that. We're not going to consider that under any circumstances. We're going to keep our inflation target at 2%, and we're going to use our tools to get inflation back to 2%.
Nicole.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. Nicole Goodkind, CNN Business. As you monitor wage growth and unemployment data, I wonder if you're paying close attention to a sector or even income level. Like, how do you factor potential exacerbations of inequality into your risk calculations, especially given the K-shaped recovery of 2020?
So I would go back to the labor market that we had in 2018, 19, 20. So what that looked like was wage increases for the people at the lowest end of the income spectrum were the largest. The gaps between racial groups and gender groups were at their smallest in recorded history. All of that because of a tight labor market. A tight labor market which had inflation running, just a tick below 2%, and the economy growing right at its potential. So that seems like something that would be really good for the economy and for the country if we could get back to that. And so that's what all of us want to do. We want to get back to a long expansion where the labor market can remain strong over an extended period of time. That's a really good thing for workers in the economy, and we'd love to get back to that. That's what our goal is. There's in the near term, we have to use our tools to restore price stability, but we can't. What we have to think about is the medium and longer term. If you think about it,
sorry guys, I
the
missed the
country
whole
went
thing.
through a difficult
So
time.
there's
I think
that.
much more difficult than we.
But the price is going a little
think
bit
it
up.
would happen here.
Let me hear what
But
he's saying. I
it
missed
really
the whole
set
thing.
up our economy for several decades of prosperity. So price stability is something that really pays dividends
making
for the
a-
benefit of
we
the
done.
economy and the people in it over a very, very long period of time. And so when it
Sorry guys, I missed the whole thing. If somebody can update me whether he's bearish or bullish, that would be nice.
is lost for whatever reason.
Are you monitoring?
We do, yes, we absolutely do.
No rate cuts anytime soon.
To talk about unemployment rates, different groups, including racial groups and that sort of thing. We do.
See the
We
chart.
keep our eye on that.
Nancy.
I mean, it doesn't look all that bad.
Hi, Nancy Marshall-Genzer with Marketplace.
This can actually
What would you
bounce.
do if the economy slows so much that we enter a recession
Bearish engulfing
before
candle
we
right
see
now.
strong, consistent
support.
signs that inflation is slowing? In
This
other
actually
words,
quite bad.
stagflation.
4-hourly. 4-hourly closed bearishly. That's
So I
not- that's not
don't want to
actually
get
good.
into too many hypotheticals, but it's hard to deal with hypotheticals. So let me just say that we have to use our tools to support maximum employment and price stability. I've made it clear that right now the labor market's very, very strong. You're at near a 50-year low. Where you're at or above maximum
How
employment.
can labor market be strong? I don't get it.
50-year low in unemployment. Vacancies are very high. Nominal wages are very high. So the labor market is very, very strong. Where we're missing is on the inflation side, and we're missing by a lot on the inflation side. So that means we need to really focus on getting inflation under control, and that's what we'll do. I think as the economy heals, the two goals come more into
Whatever he's saying,
into
he's
play.
saying for
But
general
right now,
population.
clearly the focus has to be on getting inflation down.
Oh, there we go. Some kind of pumps. Look at the candle. You can look at the green candle up here.
Thank you,
green.
Chairman Powell. Greg Robb from MarketWatch. You spoke a little bit ago. You said that the U.S. it looks like we have a structural labor shortage in the economy. Could you expand on that? Talk a little bit more about that. And really, are you talking about getting Congress action on increasing legal immigration, things like that? Thank you.
So what I meant by that with structural labor shortage is if you look at where we are now, as I mentioned, if you just look at demand for labor, you can look at vacancies plus people who are actually working, and then you can take supply of labor by are you in the labor market, are you looking for a job or have a job,
I don't know
and
who
you're
is hiring.
more than 4 million people
Market is still
short.
I don't
We
know
don't
who's
see, despite very high wages and an incredibly tight labor market, we don't see participation moving up, which is
Inflation will
contrary to
go
what
up
we
again.
thought. So the upshot of all that is the labor market is actually, it's 3.5 million people at least smaller than it should have been based on pre-pandemic, just assume population and reasonable growth and aging of the population. Our labor force should be 3.5 million more than it is, and that there are lots of easy ways to get to bigger numbers than that if you go back a few more years. So why is that? Part of it is just accelerated retirements. People dropped out and aren't coming back at a higher rate than expected. Part of it is that we lost 500,000 people who would have been close to 500,000 who would have been working, who died from COVID. And part of it is that migration has been lower. We don't prescribe, it's not our job to prescribe things, but I think if you ask businesses, pretty much everybody you talk to says there aren't enough people. We need more people. So I tried to identify that in a speech I gave a month ago, but I stopped short of telling Congress what to do because they gave us a job, and we need to do that job.
Thanks. Jennifer?
Thank you, Chair Powell. Jennifer Schonberger with Yahoo Finance.
breaks
You say
down,
you
it's gonna
expect
dump
growth
big
of just 0.5% next year. Given that you've said the process of raising rates and getting inflation back under control will be painful, have you had discussions within the committee and addressed how long and or how deep
bearish
of a
engulfing
recession
candle
you would
is
be
kind of
willing to
scary.
accept?
No, I mean what we do is we make our forecasts and we publish them quarterly. And if you look at those forecasts, those are forecasts for slow growth, for a softening labor market, by which I mean unemployment goes up, but not a great deal. And you see inflation coming down. You see rates going up a lot. You see inflation coming down. Those are those forecasts, and that's really what they show. We're not. We all, of course, we don't talk about this kind of a recession and that kind of a recession. We make those forecasts. The staff runs, and you will see this if you look at the old Teal books, runs alternative simulations of all different kinds at every meeting, and we look at those too. And those will explore different things, but that's just upside and downside scenarios. Of course, that's responsible practice that we've carried on for many decades. But no, we don't. We haven't asked ourselves that question.
We'll go to Jean for the last question.
Last question.
Hi, Jean Young with Market News. I wanted to
Wow,
ask
did you see
about
that?
the SEP again. If you are reaching peak rates around 5% in the first half of next year and inflation starts to decline materially, that would seem to make the real rate gradually more restrictive. Is that something that's built into the projections and into models? Is that something you would want to see?
So we do know that, of course. That's something that we know and we'd see. But as I mentioned, we wouldn't. I wouldn't see the committee cutting rates until we're confident that inflation is moving down in a sustained way. That would be my test. I don't see us as having a really clear and precise understanding of what the neutral rate is and what real rates are, so that it would mechanically happen like that. It'll be a test.
We're gonna look a little bit at different things
for cutting rates. I think in the event it'll be a question of, do we actually feel confident that inflation is coming down in a sustained way? Thank you very much.
There we go. Press conference done. That was interesting, although I wasn't there. But what I do see on the on the chat right now is that the Powell bullish or bearish on the press conference, 55% is actually bearish. It once started like 60% bullish, and it turned bearish. So the question is, why did you guys turn bearish during the press conference? Let's go and see up here. Why did you guys turn bearish? That's what I want to know. Let's go to Twitter and see what Twitter says. If there is anything interesting. Fresh, doesn't matter. Let's search Fomc. Play today. "17 new tweets. How many times did you check Bitcoin Powell? I don't think anyone knows if we are going to have a recession or not." Powell is a badass. So it begins. We reject here hard and stay flying. What do you guys think? Let me see if I can, just do it like this over here, so we can see the stuff. So here we have my, this is what people are writing right now. How many times did you check Bitcoin Powell? I don't think anyone knows if we are going to have a recession or not. Do you think Binance is going down? Not quite sure. No. Is Bitcoin still going on 10K next 6 months? What you guys see? Let's see results. Yes, 36% think yes, 54% actually thinks no. We had reject from here hard or start flying. What do you think? This is what kind of chart? 4-hourly chart. Interesting chart. A little bit unsure what to say. Powell says US is not in the recession. He said we are not in the recession. I don't know what it is. Yeah, a labor market is strong, but at what point does labor market becomes bad, guys? At what point does labor market? You see that Facebook is laying off people, Tesla is laying off people, Twitter laid off people because reasons. A lot of big companies are laying off people. I also see in Norway people are laying off people. Now it might be strong by manipulating some numbers here and there and making it look like it is strong market. But if I had any kind of business, I wouldn't be hiring people right now. But I know maybe a little bit more about the economy than in the average guy, so there's that. But I don't think anybody is hiring right now. I think they're waiting to see how that's gonna go. I think they're hiring if they have to hire, but I don't think people are hiring. I think that the unemployment rate will show itself later. I mean, these numbers could be easily manipulated with certain stuff. Like you might be you are unemployed if you it depends on what kind of definition for unemployed that they are using, right? And like you see right now, they're saying we are not in recession, you know, in the 2 quarters, you know, of downtrend that was, you know, technical definition before, it's no longer valid. So they're changing definition of this different stuff. But at what point will the definition, you know, at what point will the unemployment really be like, okay, we right now have, you know, rising unemployment? I think it's already happening. I just want people people are saying. I mean, if you guys have some kind of other view on unemployment, it might say people are still hiring, maybe a little bit less, but customers start to delay purchases and talk about stopping certain activities. They are still hiring. Okay, like yeah, but maybe just me. I don't think if I had any kind of business, I wouldn't be hiring right now. At least not during the winter. Like in summer, maybe if the things goes up, you know, and certain businesses that are doing well, maybe. But you know, I wouldn't be hiring. For me, I'll be buying 1,000 out of 45 minutes. This is tough choice. Why is this not sorted by latest? See the latest tweets instead. Kim Larry took 50 million from FTX as a paid shield. The guy from OC got high and decided to write a book on crypto fraud. I never crypto academic conflicts. I don't know what you mean. Bloomberg dollar index falls 0.5 to fresh lows. Powell speaks. Dollar index 4. So the fact that dollar is falling down is actually good for us, right? Elizabeth Warren is closed on Bitcoin, Ethereum, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter. Hustle in 20 minutes. Oh, crypto banter is live. Warren choice. Powell. Whenever price stability is lost, it has to be restored. We want to get back to a long expansion. Changing our inflation goal is something we are not going to think about. We are not going to consider that under any. Changing our inflation goal. I wish there was a completely painless way to restore price stability. There isn't. Painless way. I don't think anyone knows if we are going to have a recession or not. So you'll say the exact same thing you said the 2 prior events in November, and the market will focus on the dovish parts that aren't really dovish parts aren't really dovish, and ignore the hawkish parts that are actually hawkish. What does hawkish mean? Hawkish meaning. I guess the world I pull, especially in foreign affair. Dovish. Supporting seasonal peace and resolution. Yeah. Hawkish because in year end and the rebound has been fun. Why? Because year end the rebound has been fun. So he says it's gonna go down. I want to see us considering rate cuts until the committee is confident that inflation is moving down to 2% in a sustainable way. Just reiterating what he said. Stop lost. And sent Larry's on banning Bitcoin.
Currencies and crypto technology. If that were to happen, the concept of passing legislation that would ban banks from integrating cryptocurrencies and crypto technology, if that were to happen as an investor, I would short every American bank stock because it would make it the most uncompetitive financial services sector in the world. The innovation that is coming forward, once regulated, is going to be profound in terms of how it changes the cost, the efficiency, the auditability, the productivity of the banking sector. Just look at things as simple as ACH transfers, how archaic they are. Look at the Fed wire.
So let me just stop you there. I only have so much time. So you do not agree with isolating it from the banking system?
That's insanity. The concept of...
Okay. Says the US is not in recession. The labor market is clearly wrong. I think the appropriate thing to do is to move a slower pace. We are not at 360 and enough stance even with today's move. They will make the February decision based on incoming data. So next decision is in February. So no decision in January. Nice. We got until February, guys. We got until February, you know, to see. I cannot tell you confidently that we will not raise our estimates for the peak rate at the next SAP. Our judgment date is... Why is he just reiterating everything they said? Despite the slowdown in growth, the labor market remains extremely tight. What does that even mean? Please continue to risk inflation as rates upside. Dot plots higher. What kind of Fomc participants have problem motor pole Smith French? Doesn't inquire me. Now, okay, let's look at some other charts and see what we can get from that. So this is right now the most worrying chart right now is the 4-hourly chart on Bitcoin, because we got a bearish engulfing, a big move towards upside, towards the resistance, then big move down. So this bearish 4-hourly candle is kind of, you know, a little bit unsettling. So I'm thinking this can definitely, you know, move again towards downside because of this 4-hourly candle up here. That's, you know, bearish engulfing candle towards downside, but it did not break the 10 moving average. So but it's not showing the strength though. You can see up here 35 minutes until the close. We broke the 50, we cannot fail the other. So it has more pressure towards downside and towards upside, at least on these small time frames. 2-day time frame up here is still going to close in 3. It's going to definitely close about 10-20 moving average up here. So it might come all the way back down up here again and then go towards upside. It doesn't look that bullish. You know, it doesn't look that bullish just now. Let's go a little bit small time frames up here. Let's go something like 5-minute time frame. You can see up here very nicely that we did hold this, you know, midline down here. We kind of broke it. We kind of broke it several times up here, but you know, we did try to hold in midline and then bounced off of that towards the upside up here. And right now we're pulling back down again. So if we go again down here, this on the 2-minute time frame up here, below down here, that might be more dump to come. Of course, we are already getting rejected by the 50 without even getting close to the 50. Let's see 5-minute time frame up here. Got to the 20 right now, move down up here, and then maybe some kind of bounce. But it's not actually dumping down. It's not actually dumping down. So that's kind of okayish. That's kind of okayish. The dollar index right now did dump down big time. This is the decision. Right on the decision, this actually exploded towards upside. On the decision, this you know, this went up. How much does this go up? You know, 5% all the way up to, you know, it went up like 0.6%. And right now it's down more than it actually went up down here. So it's gonna do this move up here towards upside. It's just gonna, you know, go down. Let's look a little bit S&P 500 and stuff like that, how this actually played out. S&P 500 on the news, it went big time towards the downside over as well. It's right now picking up a little bit, but you know, it's kind of hitting some kind of resistance. It's 5-minute time frame, and the same thing, you know, is the same for all of the big indexes: Nasdaq, Dow Jones, and S&P 500, with DXY actually going down as well. But right now, you know, DXY started going up, but it changed direction right now up here. 35, let's see up here, 35 should be somewhere up here. Yeah, 35 did, you know, it's inversely correlated. And Bitcoin as well started at 8 and at 35, something like that up here, and changed direction towards the upside. So Bitcoin is following a little bit more stock market, and then it's inversely correlated with the inversely correlated with the dollar index right now. But I still think this needs some kind of, you know, normal, some kind of bounce. But if it does break this, you know, towards downside up here, it's going to be quite terrible when it comes to the dollar index. Hold on, check 55 emotional on daily. 55 emotional daily. We got to do that. When you say emotional, we got to do that. Let's go up here. 55. Where are my emotional moving averages? There are more emotional moving averages. And we're going to just turn off 10, 20. This is the 50, but we're going to, you know, do the pro way and 55. 55 on the daily. I mean, we did close above the 55 daily, and right now, you know, we opened above it, and right now we're still above it. So, you know, you can say there is some kind of support up here, right up there. There is some kind of support on the daily time frame. So we are still above it. I mean, we still haven't come down, but you know, if we do come down, then we are down. But why use emotional moving averages when you can use, you know, simple moving averages? You can already see that we are hitting the 50 up here, and you know, we are right now below the 50, you know. So what are you gonna believe? Are you gonna believe the emotional moving average where we are above it and bullish, or are you gonna be, you know, use the standard, you know, normal moving averages and, you know, just accept the fact that we are bearish? Now we're not bearish. Two-day time frame is actually quite nice. It went quite high up here, almost to but it's above 10-20 moving average, and weekly, you know, up hit this, you know, resistance up here. How far did it go? Did it go all the way up there? No, it did not go up all the way up to 18.8. 18.8 was important level. So maybe on the bigger time frames, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, we still above 10-20. We still did break everything down here. Yes, we are having this pullback down here right now, but we're starting to pull back down here right now. But you know, we are not quite, you know, devastated. The only devastating thing right now, the way I see it, and the reason this might actually go a little bit more towards downside, this 4-hourly candle up here. This 4-hourly candle, this is bearish engulfing candle. It did not, you know, if it closed up here, it would be a lot better. But the fact that it did not break 10 moving average down here, they actually managed to bounce. That shows that there is definitely some kind of bullishness in the market right now. What is a recept for the EMA 55? What do you mean by recept? Recept for the EMA 55? I don't know. 30-minute chart was going bullish until all was crushed. Luckily, I got out with 22% profit. Nice. 69 emotional MA. Let's check out 69 emotional MA. Is there anything there? Is there anything on 65, 69 emotional EMA? Nah, there is nothing up here. And it depends on time frame. Let's go to daily. I mean, it's all the way up there. I mean, it is some kind of, you know, resistance, but you know, whatever. What do we can check out? Maybe it's on the weekly. 55. Nah, 69 is all the way up there. Let's check the 666 emotional EMA on big time frames, on daily time frame. 660 is at 29 right now. 666 emotional EMA. Well, let's go 2-day time frame up here. Wow, it's pretty high. Weekly it's not even close. We don't have the 666. Dump in progress. Ooh. Yeah, big move up here. It went down, bled, and it just dump. Let's go to the 1 minute time frame. Let's go a little bit back in time because I removed some lines up here. There we go. We are back below the 50 moving average with a red candle, and you know this 4-hourly candle is kind of crap. This. Look here, bleed. This is also bearish. You can see the support up here. And when you broke the support, you get these big moves down. But right now, this is some kind of double bottom up here. Is holding, so you know we're gonna see if we're gonna pull back more. Altcoins are down 2-3% right now, but not that much actually. What and if do you see a bullish move happening in the short term? Not right now. I mean, we've been bullish right now. In the short term, I don't see any kind of, you know, bullishness right now on the charts. Even up here on you know, 5-second chart up here, it's bleeding towards downside. But you know, in 5-minute chart up here, went up here to some kind of move down here. There might be some kind of bullishness up here. You know, look at 5-minute chart. It might bounce because right now it did, you know, it went down up here, dropped down to the support level up here. So right now it might actually bounce up here again. So we're gonna see that. But you know, there is definitely some kind of support level up here at 17.7. Let's give or take. Maybe even some you know, some bullish divergence up here. This 5-minute chart. Let's go 10-minute chart. Yeah, yeah, there is definitely divergence up here. We got divergence on the small time frames though. We got divergence on the small time frames. So up here we got a bullish divergence. Over here we got a momentum going towards upside. And we got the right now double bottom down here. So I think this is gonna bounce over here. I think it's gonna bounce, at least in the short term, maybe very short term. I think it's gonna bounce. I'm short 18.38. Ooh, that's nice. How high is 18.38? Don't tell me don't tell me you picked the top, man. How can you pick the? I mean, there is no 18.38 over here, man. 18.377. How could you do that? How could you do that? I mean, there is that. You are the only person, you know, price goes to 18.377, but this guy can get, you know, 18.380. How is that even possible? Like, what kind of magic do you do to get these kind of, you know, shorts in? Look at that. The price maximum 18.377, but this guy 18.380. Yeah, I know, I get it. He's like, I don't care about the price. I want the 8.380. I'm gonna get it 8.380. Who did you bribe? Mazu is a man. Real Doctor Strange of Crypto. Binance Future went up to 18.4. Yeah, so I get it. There are some exchanges definitely that you know, have higher levels, but you know, it's fun to joke with. So we got some kind of support level up here. So you know, hopefully this actually holds. Anyways, guys, the press conference is done. I'm a little bit. I'm sorry I could not follow the press conference because you know the wife got, you know, some guy hit the wife wife's car, and he was over here so they could write the crash papers or whatever it's called. And I had to, go and check that out. And I didn't follow the press conference. So I'm a little bit unsure whether it's bearish or bullish. There we go. We're breaking the downside. There is actually no 10-minute chart up here. It was the divergences don't always work out. Yeah, there is no divergence. It's going down. So bearish engulfing candle right back down again on 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart. Listen, still pulling down. 4-hour is bearish. This is gonna go down for a little while. So I don't see much bullishness right now. We did, pump kind of, heavily towards the resistance up here at 18.3 or something like that, right? And this move towards downside is kind of was kind of expected. So the interesting thing is right now is gonna be if this is actually bearish, how are they gonna twist that? This both CPI and the Fed hike 0.5 is kind of bearish. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting reading the news. Under the optimism is how I would define it today. Look at you. Yeah, on the dollar. I'm scared to short because it might pump back to upside. I mean, right, up here was time to short right up here, but right now it's going down here. There is also some kind of support level here on the 50 moving average up here as well. This 20 might come down up a little bit up here. The daily is just moving back below the 50 up here, so no worries just yet. So we're gonna see how this actually plays out tomorrow and stuff like that. It's gonna be interesting to watch. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. I'm sorry I could not be on the press conference and watch the whole thing. But at least we did something. There was a stream. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna see you around. And because right now this is just a little bit up, a little bit down. Trying to find some kind of equilibrium. When next trend on the million account, I don't know, man. I don't know. Soon, maybe soon. We're gonna see that as soon as Bitcoin starts going up, because money is so easy when stops goes up. Stay safe, guys. It's cold outside. Bye-bye.